Hi guys, Marian here. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I just want to sit and chat with you guys about something that's really been on my heart lately and kind of talk it through with you guys about what I think about it, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you're new here, by the way, welcome. My name is Marian and I make videos about being a mom and being a Jewish mom. And if you like Jewish life content like this, then hit that red subscribe button down below. It's free, and all it means is when you go to YouTube, you might see my videos in your feed. Okay, so what I want to chat with you guys today about is Judaism inherently a judgmental religion? And the reason this has been on my mind is I've been seeing a bunch of posts on Instagram from Jewish creators like myself calling out the tzniut police. So that term, tznius or tzniut, is modesty, and the tzniut police are people who, if it's not like an official group, it's just like a term for people who call out other women, usually modesty levels. So for example, if someone on Instagram who's Jewish posts a picture and their neckline is too low, or their shoulders are showing, or their hair's not covered enough, people will make comments and be like, why are you showing this online? Why are you not being more modest? You know, tzniut is such an important Jewish value. And they'll usually clap back and talk about how actually judging others, being a tzniut police type of person, or a Karen, is actually the worst way to live a Jewish life, and that in being judgmental and criticizing others' religious value and observance level, that's actually the worst thing you can do as a Jewish person, way worse than like showing a little shoulder action or covering your hair less than it should be covered. So that's kind of like the conflict and the tension, and you really see it play out online, especially because now there's these like Jewish Instagrammers, but you also absolutely see it play out in the real world. Not so much in my community, but if you, for example, go to a very religious community in Israel especially, but also here like in the New York areas, you can absolutely get yelled at on the street and worse if you're not dressed modestly enough. So the idea of judgment is absolutely something we see in the Jewish world. Another way this plays out, especially in those very insular communities, is if you're not doing enough, and that is a huge range of what that means, which I'll get into in a minute. But if you're considered to not be doing enough religiously, your kids will not be allowed into the Jewish schools in their neighborhoods. You will not be allowed to marry other families within the community. The matchmaker will not match you up, and so on and so forth. You will be excluded from invites to Shabbat dinners and things like that. And when you explain this to someone who lives in the secular world, it might not sound so bad. You might think like, oh, well, okay, I'll just send my kids to public school or a different school, or my kids will marry who they want to marry. It doesn't matter. But when you live in this super insular, tight community, that's like wearing the scarlet letter, and everyone around you is going to exclude you, but you don't have the possibly means, ability, finances, or education level to leave that community. So you're absolutely stuck. So there's this power that the authorities have, as well as the community has, in keeping people in line and not in any way being able to express their Judaism in a more personal way, or to decide which level of observance they want to keep or which laws are meaningful to them, because the community functions as a judgmental organization inherently, because like I said, if you step out of line, then you absolutely are going to be punished. So it's beyond just the tzniut police making their comments online. It's also very much the community as a whole judging others. So is Judaism itself inherently judgmental? Well, there are absolutely mitzvot and laws that we are supposed to keep, but what does it mean if you don't keep them? So again, it kind of depends on which branch of Judaism and which rabbi you speak to, but most people will tell you that the goal is to live your authentic life in the best way that you can, and to observe the mitzvot as much as you can, because nobody can observe all of them. It's actually physically impossible, because most of them, or a good percentage of them, involve the holy temple that doesn't exist anymore. So even if you were the holiest, most devout religious Jew in the world, you still would in no way be able to keep all the mitzvot, because like I said, it's physically impossible at this time without our temple. So where does that leave us? So I think for me personally, what I love about the conservative movement, and I share about it a lot, is you can be as religious as you would like to be. Nobody is stopping you. You can keep every law of the Sabbath. You can keep family purity laws. You can keep every order, the highest level of kashrut, and you can be as modest as you see fit and in what that means to you. But what I like about it is that kind of last line, like what that means to you. So for example, to me, it is in no way a Jewish value to cover a woman's face, for example. And you might not know this, but in ultra-Orthodox publications, they no longer show women's faces, which is pretty shocking to the rest of the Jewish world because this is something that never existed before. And growing up in like the 80s and 90s, if you look at photos of religious Jews, women were wearing colorful outfits, they were, had modern styles, and it's only in the past 10 to 20 years that they really retracted even further from the secular world in an effort to hold on to traditions. So new laws and new standards of things like kashrut and modesty are being forced on the community as this like kind of snapback happens. And there's also a theory which I think carries a lot of weight, that with the rise of ultra-right conservative Christianity, the ultra-right conservative Judaism have kind of like grown together, that they've kind of inspired each other and learned from one another and taken on the same like doctrines. Whereas if you look in like, again, the 1980s, 1990s, you didn't see such fervent fervor within those groups. So my conclusion is that I don't think Judaism is inherently judgmental. And I think it's more what we're seeing today of a reaction to or a reality of the people who are in power within certain religious sects, and that they're giving off the impression that Judaism has to be this judgmental place where we need to force everyone around us to observe the laws the way we see them. And I think it's important for other movements in Judaism to continue proudly showing how inclusive they are, how welcoming they are, and how, although Judaism always has been a community religion, right? You need 10 people to have a minyan to pray, and community is hugely important. There's also a huge individual spiritual aspect to it, and in no way are people limited in their free will and free choice to live their life how they want. So that's my little spiel for today, a little reaction to some stuff I'm seeing online and just things that have been on my mind. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Have you guys been seeing this as well? What do you think about my overarching historical context about how the good old days didn't used to be like this? And yeah, just very interested to hear your thoughts on this. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Just let me know you like more of these sit and chats. And definitely hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any more of my videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.